It's time for another Dice Tower review with Tim Jennette.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and in this video we're taking a look at Boss Monster, the dungeon building card game. This was a Kickstarter game designed by Johnny and Chris O'Neill from Brotherwise Games in 2013. It's for 2 to 4 players and takes about 20 minutes. I'd say a little longer for 3 and 4 players. It's basically, you play the boss of a dungeon and you're building this side-scrolling dungeon in which heroes come to town. You want to lure them into your dungeon through different treasures and such, have them go through and die so that they turn into souls, and the first player to a certain amount wins. So if you like 8-bit style arts or 16-bit, whatever it is, and the nostalgia of it, and you like card games, let me show you how it plays and we'll come back and I'll tell you if it's any good. Boss Monster pretty much comes with a bunch of cards. You have a stack of bosses that each player is going to receive 1, so this will be ours for this example. There's a deck of room cards. There's a ton of them here. You start off with 5 of these, so we'll put these off to the side for now. There's a spell deck in which you start with 2 of these. And then there's the hero deck, which you're going to generate based on the number of players. So if you look at each of the heroes, you've got basic heroes, which are the gray backs, and you have the epic heroes, which are these gold backs. The basic heroes and the epics are going to have a number of players, so you're going to take however many players that you have and only keep those. So in a 3-player game, you're essentially going to remove the one with all the 4 players at the bottom. That's a 2-player, that's a 2-player. You know, here's a 4-player. So you would remove all the 4 players. If you're playing with all 4 players, you're basically got this whole deck. You do this again with the epic heroes, 4 players, 4 players. Star means you include it no matter what. But you build these decks and you put the normal heroes on top of the epic heroes, and each player is going to take their hand of 7 cards, discard 2 of those. So let's say these 2. And you're ready to begin. Before the first round, each player can take 1 room card. You have 2 different types of room cards. You have trap rooms and you have monster rooms. On top of that, you have gray rooms, which are just normal, and then you have advanced rooms like this advanced trap room that's gold. It has to upgrade from another trap room, and the other requirement is the symbols have to match, but we'll go over those in a minute. So let's say you start off with this bottomless pit. Everybody's going to put a card face down at the same time and reveal them, and you're ready to begin. So how does a round work? Well, first let me tell you the idea of the game. You're trying to build a dungeon, a side-scrolling dungeon here. You can have up to 5 rooms. Let's say you had that room, and this room. These heroes are going to come out in town, and they're going to be thirsty for types of treasure. So the thieves want money. Whoever at the end of the build phase has the most money bags on the corner of their cards here. Now I apologize about the sleeves, it probably has a little bit of glare. But, so, he has money bags. You have 1 money bag, say that you have the most. He's going to be tempted to come into your dungeon and either die or hurt you. So he's going to side-scroll through your dungeon, taking damage, taking damage, taking damage. If he dies along the way, he's going to flip over and turn into souls, which you'll put off to the side of your character. Otherwise, if he gets to your boss, he's going to do damage to you equal to his wounds. Basically, the normal heroes are always 1 wound, 1 soul. The epics are 2 and 2. The idea is you want to get 10 souls to win the game. If you ever receive 5 wounds, you die, and you're eliminated from the game. So, let's put these back. We started with that 1 card there. First thing is everybody's get to draw a card from this deck, and then the heroes are going to come out. So for each player, say we're playing 3 players, we flip over 1 character apiece. So we got a mage, we got a thief, and we got a thief. The mage has 8 hit points, the thief has 4, and this thief has 6. So do you have enough to kill one of these? Well, the first thing you do in player order is determined by your experience. The higher player goes first, so 600 XP, say the other player had 800, he's going to decide if he wants to place a room into his dungeon. Then it's going to say it's your turn next. You're going to take one of these cards and add to your dungeon. I'm just going to add one. I don't really know about strategy about this point, but we're going to build this golem factory. You can place it face down. You always build from right to left. You can never change the placement of your dungeon unless you have cards that say you can. But once you place it, you can place it face down in an empty spot, or face down on top of another card in your dungeon in which you plan to advance or destroy the original and put one in its place. But let's say you build this card to the left. Once everybody has decided in player order if they want to do so, then each player is going to reveal. And then you tell everybody what yours does. This is once per turn. If a hero dies in this room, you get to draw a card, or a room card. It also does 2 damage, and it's going to provide you these symbols, which again, you're going to vie for control of, or bid for control of these heroes to come to your dungeon. So that's the build phase. During the build phase, you can also cast spells. There are spells that have the little hammer icon, meaning that you can cast them anytime during the build phase on any player's turn. There's also the little axe icon, which happens later in the adventuring phase. Some of them actually have both, like this one here. If no one's going to play spells or whatnot, you're going to move on to the bait phase. So these have been revealed. Now each player counts up the total number of symbols. You go from right to left on the characters, how they came out. So the mage is thirsty for knowledge. So who has the most books? Well, this character here has 1, has no more in his dungeon. Say the other player had 2. This character is going to go to that player's dungeon. The thief here, he wants a money bag. Say that you're the only person with money. He's going to come to your dungeon, as will this one. No spells can be casted during the bait phase, but once you bait the characters, you're kind of stuck with them in the order they came out and went into dungeons. So after the bait phase, you're going to move on to... Oh, by the way, if 2 players are tied for the same amount of treasures, they stay in town, meaning the town can actually start flooding with characters if no one's really building anything or building the exact same amount. Or if there's a player who doesn't have anything, say this sword didn't exist here and no one else built swords, like the warriors that come out would just stay there in town as well. So anyway, that's the bait phase. You get guys. Then we move on to the adventure phase. The adventure phase, we go in player order, and they're going to side scroll through your dungeon and take damage. So this character here has 4 health. He's going to go into the first room. It deals 2 damage based on this black heart down the bottom left. It's special if a hero dies there, you get to draw a card, which he won't. And he moves on to here, taking another damage. He's only going to take 3, and then he's going to make it to your boss, flip over into damage, or I'm sorry, stay flipped over like that, and count as 1 point of damage. That's sad, but you want to save this special ability for this character because he goes through, takes 2, 3. He has 6 health. You really could have used it on him, but whatever. You can use this special at this point to destroy this room, to kill any hero in this room. So we destroy this room. Your dungeon slides over, filling gaps, and he's going to die and turn into souls. Basically, you got 1 soul and 1 wound. And then at the end of turn, if you have 10 souls or more, you're going to win. If you have any time you ever have 5 wounds, you die and you're removed. And then you begin a new round. Each player is going to draw a card from the room deck in their experience order, and then you're going to take turn or put more of these guys out here, and you're going to keep going until somebody receives 10 experience. So let's go over some of these different rooms here. We got the Bone Crank. When you build this room, deactivate 1 room in a dungeon. You basically turn it sideways. So you can build it and freeze 1 room in another player's dungeon to kind of hinder their turn. It does minimal damage. The Boulder Trap, destroy another room in this dungeon to deal 5 damage to a hero. You've got like the Succubus Ball. Once per turn, if they die here, you get to take a random room or spell from an opponent. So there's some pretty cool rooms here. Some of them actually add multiple symbols. There's a Dragon Roost in here, which I don't know if I'll find it real quick, but it'll add 1 of all the symbols, but it really doesn't do anything further. Then you've got, like I said, the advanced rooms. You're going to place these face down on another room that you already have in your dungeon, but you have to meet 2 requirements. 1, it has to be the same type. So this is a monster room, so it has to be placed on top of another monster. It couldn't be placed on this trap. It can be placed on, a monster room like this. The second requirement is it has to share at least one of the same symbols. So this has a book, that has a book, you're good. You can turn this into the Liger's Den. They're usually a little bit more powerful, or they have way cooler special abilities or more damage, whatever. The heroes, however, once you get further into the deck, you also have the epic heroes. Some of these are Kickstarter, but I'm going to show you anyway. You have like the normal thieves and stuff and clerics, but you have some of the special ones like this demigod. He has a question mark. He's Lord of the Dungeon with the boss monster who has the fewest wounds. So whoever's taking least damage, he's going to show them why they should be taking damage. You've got some like the Trap Master. Whoever has the most of both of these icons total, he's going to ignore room ability text when he enters that dungeon, and room activated abilities can't be used. So he kind of goes in there and does not fear your dungeon at all. Plus he has a ton of hit points. And let's take a look at some of these spells. Some of them will do things like send a hero in your dungeon back to the first room of your dungeon. So you can have him side scroll through 2 rooms, teleporting back, side scroll through the same rooms and the rest of your rooms to do enough damage to kill him. You've got freeze. You can choose and deactivate a room in any dungeon. So if that person thinks they're going to get by with that really hefty guy and win the game, you can be like, well, I'm going to freeze that room real quick, and now that doesn't count. That might be a room he was getting a ton of damage from and no longer able to kill that character or that hero that came from town. There's some other ones, zombie attack. It's kind of cool. You cast it on a dead hero in an opponent's scorekeeping area, and you get to send it back to the beginning of their dungeon with +2 health. So you can be like, oh, you fought that guy once and killed him barely, now you're not going to have a chance. So a lot of these cards you can play to mess up your opponent. A lot of them you can play on your rooms to increase your effectiveness at killing heroes. And last but not least, we're just going to show you a few of these bosses. This one, each of your opponents must choose and discard 2 cards. So that would be like a triggered one. You want to wait until it's going to be the most beneficial to you. This one, for the rest of the game, the last room of your dungeon has +3 damage. That's pretty cool. You got the Hell Cow here. Choose any dungeon. You may rearrange the placement of rooms in that dungeon. So you got some really funny nostalgic art and some really cool special abilities. And again, whoever gets 10 souls or more will win the game. Otherwise, if you take 5 damage, you are dead. And sorry about your luck. So there you go. That's Boss Monster, the dungeon building card game. Now for me, I think this is a really fun game. It's very nostalgic as far as all the art. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't understand how copyright works, but awesome job, guys. This is fantastic art. It's really cool. It's super fun to watch and look at. It's cool to build your little dungeon and everything. As far as gameplay goes, I played this a crazy amount of times 2 players, and I will say that as I play it more 2 players, I kind of like it better as a 3-player game, possibly a 4-player game, only for the reason that I don't know if it's just the people I play with all the time, but when we're playing 2-player games, it kind of, oh, he's going after those symbols, so I'm just going to go after these symbols. And I know you card count because you kind of know what the hero deck's made out of. And I guess that's part of the strategy, but I like the idea of people's plans getting ruined. And, you know, with the 3rd player in the mix or 4th player, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going after swords, but he's going after swords. I want books, blah, blah, blah. Just a little bit more diversity as far as the players and what they're doing. Not a bad 2-player game. I just prefer it as 3- and 4-player. I will say, though, that if you do not get spells, you've lost. I don't know. Maybe I'm terrible at the game, but for some reason, spells are so powerful in this. They make so much sense. They give you so many options, and you basically don't have a lot of options outside of that. Some of your cards do, but they're so situational. Those spells, though, man, they really are powerful. And there's not really a way to get them other than some of the room cards. So you're kind of at the mercy of luck of the draw. Like if you get a ton of cards that allow you, or rooms that allow you to draw spells, or even worse, steal them from the other players, you can dramatically get ahead of them a lot of the time. It's happened plenty of times. I don't know, that's just my feeling on it, but I feel like the spell deck should be a little bit more open, more people getting spells, or way less. I don't know. Either way, the spells kind of give me that take that aspect, that Munchkin style, like, oh, we're just going to jump and throw all these cards at you, and now you can't do anything. And for me, maybe I've gotten away from that take that style of games as much, but I feel like a lot of the spells are okay. Some of them are very annoying to have played against you. I almost feel bad playing them against other people. I do it anyway. But I don't know, I just feel that some of the spells are just overpowered, and they kind of detract from what the game's trying to do. I don't know. Maybe that's just personal feelings, but I feel like if you don't have spells, you can't win the game, and I just wish there was more of a way for players to have the option to draw spells. But other than that, though, the game's really fun. The expansions, there's a couple of expansions for it that added a lot of flavor to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing with upcoming releases and more for Boss Monster. As it is, it's a great game. I just personally prefer to play it with 3 or 4 players, but if you got one other person and you like the style of it and you think you know, if you're definitely into card games, definitely into retro style games, this is right up your alley. It's a very fun and sleek game. So just remember, it's not as in-depth as it seems. It's more so about the bidding and getting those heroes into your dungeon. Whereas as far as the rest of the strategy, I mean, you just want to try to outbid your opponents and get as many guys as fast as possible to win the game. So anyway, if it looks cool, definitely check it out. You can email me at timjennette@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter below. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.